Okay, welcome back. Sam the electrician here, speaking about Western independence and Alberta separation. Ran into a delicious I told you so moment earlier this week. In episode 6 of my video series, Meritocracy is Dying, I mentioned that Ontario, Central Canada, and the East kind of have a looking backwards over their shoulder to Europe sort of attitude. And then the next day in Maclean's magazine online. Now I didn't check the date of when the author wrote it, but I saw it the next day. Of course, it's just an opinion article, but the author wrote a whole opinion article opining that Canada should maybe join the EU, which is just hilarious. Totally the opposite of anything in the West, anybody in the West would ever want. Join the EU, a bunch of unelected bureaucrats controlling Canada from across the ocean, and they have no idea what's going on over here or the mood of the people or our wants or needs. It's probably the worst idea I've ever heard. And it is just ironically hilarious that it came out the day after I made my video stating that is sort of the general attitude of the Central Canada and the East. So that's a bit of a good I told you so moment for me. I found that just awesome. Anyway, today's episode, we're going to talk about representation by the numbers. It's another one of the root causes that we are alienated out here in the West and Western alienation. I'd like to give a shout out to the viewer and commenter, Republic of Western Canada. He commented that I should be concentrating more on the unequal representation than the oil issues. Of course, I work in the oil sands, so my main issue is the economy and stuff. But I thought everybody kind of knew how unequal things were, but he's right, or she. I'm assuming he. So I'm going to go over the numbers that he supplied in one of my comment sections, and I think it's very revealing. And it definitely shows why we are, or how, sorry, sort of a numerical representation of what's going on, just the way the country developed. So Prince Edward Island has a population of 155,000 people, and they get 4 seats in the lower house, the House of Commons, which equals 38,750 people per seat. Then you move on to Quebec. Quebec has 8,400,000 people, and they get 78 seats, which is 107,700 people per seat. You move to BC, they have 5 million people, they have 42 seats, which is 120,000 people per seat. So you can start to see how it's separating with the equality of how many people, get a say in the seats. There's definitely an inequality there. And then when you hit Alberta, 4,300,000 people, and we get 34 seats, which is 126,470 people per seat. So you can obviously see a massive difference there, and the seat counts should be changed. Harper tried to change them. He got some added. But the problem is Quebec has a constitutional amendment or clause or whatever where they get that amount of seats regardless of their population, which again is another reason why the West is alienated. Quebec gets the pandering special, here comes Quebec, we better treat them separately and special. It's funny too because Canada and all the people in Canada claim to be the champions of social justice and equality, but they have no problem screwing over half their population, or at least the population of the West, when it comes to representation in Ottawa. It echoes back to the American Revolutionary War, no taxation without representation. I'm not saying we don't have representation, but it's not equal, and it's not based on any kind of real numbers anymore. It may have worked in Confederation in 1867, but it doesn't work anymore. Why does PEI get 4 seats? They should have 1. If that, they should maybe be merged with the other maritime provinces. It's just ridiculous. Everybody knows it. So that is sort of a breakdown of the numbers, the root cause of why we are where we are today. this is what it leads to. When you have a whole section of the country that isn't represented equally by their population, you end up with situations like this. We don't want to be dictated to anymore by Ottawa, and we don't want to be told what to do by the people of the greater Toronto area and Montreal, which basically is controlling the country right now with their massive number of seats between the two cities. So anyway, that's about all I have to say for this video. Join me again. I'm going to go into some more stuff when it comes to the numbers as well. I have another video coming out about the big news that came out this weekend from Wexit. And I hope to see you then. Take it easy.